Hola, bienvenidos nuevamente al canal de los dos gordos. Estamos aquí el día de hoy con nuestro abogado y agente migratorio, Phill.
Hola chicos, ¿qué tal? Bienvenidos. Estamos acá con Phill. Hello Phill, how are you?
Hello, good afternoon. I'm good, thank you.
Well, we are doing to our channel today. We're gonna do an amazing interview about all the questions that you have about immigration.
We received a couple questions from many people.
Okay.
So we are going to transfer this information to Phill and we can try to solve all the doubts that people have.
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. There's a lot of misinformation out there and people saying crazy things, so I'll give you all of the answers as the statistics will show.
Definitely.
Yes.
That's great.
Very, very good for us.
Cool.
So Phill, tell us,
Okay.
how long experience do you have in the immigration or the migration world?
Yeah, so I'm probably about more than 7 years at the moment.
Okay.
Started out in international education and then went into migration. And so I've been doing a lot of different things from visa applications to citizenship, also appeals, tribunal cases, things like that.
So everyone that needs help regarding an immigration process can come to you?
Yeah, of course.
Any type of visas or any specific procedure or something like that?
That's right. So even if it's just general advice, might be finding the right pathway for them, could be, maybe an issue with their visa, like they've got a pending cancellation or they've got a visa refusal, or maybe their sponsor has closed their business. So we can deal with all these kinds of issues.
That's good.
So, Phill, one of the biggest doubt that we have about the student visa, like the main one for us now in Australia, because many people is asking about it. Which new rules we have since July of this year?
Okay, good question. Because there's two different kinds of rules. One of them are like maybe rules that are in the legislation, which has some changes. Others might be for delegated legislation, which is more on the kind of process that the department has to go through. So there's been both changes. There's been changes to not only the rules of how to get a visa or the requirements of how to get a visa, but also the process that the department goes through to approve the visa. So what they might need to look at, or what kind of things they need to assess for you to be deemed eligible. So when we think about what changes there's been, the biggest changes has been to, I guess, student visas and how you can be eligible. Previously, you could go from a visitor visa to a student visa, or a graduate visa to a student visa. And they've enacted legislation which has changed that. Okay, so no longer can you kind of arrive temporarily here on a visitor visa and then change course to a student visa. They're really trying to stop this visa hopping. So it's very much like a very key term in the government. They want to stop visa hopping, people going from temporary visa to temporary visa to temporary visa, and just remaining permanently temporary for a long period of time. Other changes which have been made, which was in March of this year, was to how they assess student visas. Okay, how they assess the genuine temporary entrant requirements. Previously, there was a real big focus on you need to show your reasons for going home, what your ties to your home country are, what your, basically, what reasons you have to go back. That was what the real big focus was. And since these changes have come along, and this was all enacted because the government, it was the government's reaction to what's been happening. They realized that students were coming and not studying, or they were working too many hours, and study wasn't their priority. So now the focus is, what is the value of this course to your future? And the idea is that if you're doing a course which is valuable for you, then you're going to have less chance of breaking your visas, because this is a priority for you. This is something that's going to give you something at the end of it. It's going to give you a better life, a better job, better career. And so now that's what it's all about. So when you're seeing visa refusals, and there are many at the moment, specifically for Latin America, it's all about they haven't shown the value of this course to their future. And a perfect example, let's say someone's come and they've already got a bachelor's degree, and they might have a bachelor in engineering. And then they come to Australia, they've been studying English for quite a long time, and they've got enough English to do another course. And they might want to continue with, something in their career. Maybe they want to change careers, but they don't prove that this course they're going to do in Australia is valuable to their future. It's going to give them something better than what they had previously. So let's say an example, they've come from an engineering background, they might have some work experience, they've come to Australia, they're studying English, and then they want to do commercial cookery. They're going to become a chef instead. The biggest thing with the department is you need to prove that this career change is beneficial for you. It's going to be even better than your previous career
when you're back in your
you're back in your country. And that's what's so hard. That's why there's been so many refusals, because people are doing courses such as, let's say a diploma in business, but they're not proving how this diploma of business is going to give them better prospects when they get home, better salary. This is a really big one. So,
or more benefits.
Yeah.
More benefits in general.
Exactly. So you need to. It really is a big focus on that. And when the ministerial direction was introduced, this was not just for applications which were after that date, but all applications that were still in the system. So there were still ones that were pending for 3, 4, 5 months before, and they're still pending. This ministerial intervention came in, and now it applies to all of them that were still waiting. And because they didn't emphasize the value of the course, now we're saying, there's many refusals. So that's the biggest change, I would say.
So that means that now it's harder to get a student visa than, let's say, 1 year ago or a couple months ago? Or?
Well, it depends how you're creating how you're putting forward your application. If you're addressing all the things that need to be assessed, then you've still got good chances to get a visa. But the problem is that, and this is controversial, but many of the, let's say, different agencies have not updated how they work and how they create the justification for doing this course in line with the new ministerial directions. Yeah.
So that's it, because you can see in all social media that come to Australia, get study, get work, get rich, become rich and earn, I don't know, a lot of money every week.
Yeah.
So that people that usually come to study English, let's say if this is a guy or a girl who is in Latin America already working as a, supervisor in a transnational company or something like that, could be a refusal for an English course only? Because let's say that this person is already speaking English, studying English in Peru, in Colombia, or whatever.
You still need to have a reason for why you're going to be studying English.
Yeah, maybe it's just like I need to present a test to do an MBA or something like that. It's going to be a good reason.
Yeah, exactly. So we've got one application at the moment, and it's very similar to that. They have an English score, and it's not enough to get into the course that they wanted. So they want to come to Australia, they were only going to do 4 months of English to be able to get that score and then do the course that they wanted. So you need to have a reason. You need to justify why. There are a few things that go into it, because the department's going to look at it and say, why can't you study English in your own country? Okay, so what's your reason for doing it? Why choose Australia? Why choose this college that you've selected? And in a way, why didn't you choose a different college? So you need to show
a different country.
Yeah, why not a different country?
Yeah.
So you still need to address all of that.
And it's true that, I don't know, when you're in contact with some agencies, they said, you need to choose this school or this other because you are going to have more chances to get your visa approval. Is that true or no?
Yeah. So it is. So there's a hierarchy, and we call them levels of college, and you have college levels 1, 2, and 3. The idea is the higher the level of college, the lower the level of college. Level 1 is the best one.
The best one.
Yeah. The higher chances are of getting a visa. So there's 2 things at work. One is the levels of the college. The other is the level of the country that you're coming from. So every country has got their own risk level, and that's affected by a lot of things, such as how many people come to Australia and break their visa conditions from that country, or how many then go to apply for a different kind of visa, how many of them come here and then apply for a protection visa, for example. So there's a risk level of the country, a risk level of the college, and sometimes it's a balance between the two.
That happened with us when we came. We were on level 3, and we choose a level 1 college, like it was Greenwich College.
Yep.
So we did a good balance just to maybe get a level 2 for immigration, like between. I think that should be the good, but also you have to go to school, you have to go to classes, you have to study the English, because otherwise you don't want to do anything.
Of course.
How frequent is that people get receive this letter, this warning letter, because you are not going to classes?
Yeah, so do you mean the warning letter from the college, or the warning letter from immigration? Okay. So what happens is when you're studying, and let's say you don't go to college or you don't pay, and the college is going to give you some kind of warning, and they'll say, you've got 28 days to work something out with us. If you don't do that, we're going to notify migration that you're breaking your visa conditions. Once they've notified migration will then, when the time comes, they will look at your breach, and they will send you a notification of intent to consider cancellation. Basically, they say, here's a letter. We want to cancel your visa. We have this information about you. Tell us why we shouldn't cancel your visa. Now, how it works...
appeal that.
Well, you get an opportunity to say to explain why they shouldn't.
Okay.
Then, if it does get cancelled, you can take it to the tribunal if you've got a reason to, why you should overturn it. But the problem is getting a cancellation is very bad. It's very bad. It really limits your options for many things after that. Okay, so you need to do everything you can to not get your visa cancelled. But as to how often does it happen, it happens quite a lot. What I would say in practice is that, let's say you stopped going to college, and then after a month or two, they report you. It might take another 3 months for the department to then get in contact with you and say, we're going to cancel your visa. It's not an immediate thing. What we've noticed in practice.
Because one guy from a school happens with him. He was just working with him here in Australia, and my teacher reported to the Greenwich College because she was helping him with attendance, okay, I know you're working, but you need to come tomorrow. And he was just ignoring her. So she was like, okay, it's your time. Your time has come. So she started doing mark, putting notes, no, he's not coming because he's working. So then Greenwich reported him 2 times. And after that, 2 weeks later, he received a notification from migration. So it was very fast.
Yeah, that's quick. I've seen in other cases, sometimes it's taken 9 months, sometimes it's taken even longer. But yeah, it's the same with anything in migration. You never know time frames. It's always it can be.
We know.
Can be very quick, can be very long.
We're still waiting.
Yeah. So yeah, it can be any period of time, really. So look, the moral of the story is that you've got to go to your classes. Gone are the days, because of all these changes, gone are the days that you could just enroll in a course, never see the front door. Some people just never studied a day in their life, and they've been here for 3 or 4 years. But the problem is that those days are over. The colleges have come out and said, no, we are getting so heavily regulated now, and we're going to get in a lot of trouble if we don't do things the right way. And so the dodgy colleges are starting to get shut down. Other dodgy colleges are not going to be here for a very long time. And this is where you find that these kind of upper level colleges, like level 1 colleges, they're going to still be here because they do everything right. They're very strict, but for a reason. That's why. That's how they keep their level 1, because they're very strict, and they make sure their students are studying, and they make sure
because they can lose the level too.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And it's very very regular that colleges
So it's
are
a
going up
very
and down.
important point to choose the right college.
Yeah.
I think
before
so.
applying to it.
I think so. Look, it really helps if you're coming from a level 3 country and going to a level 1 institution. You know, if you're a level 2 country going to a level 2 institution, that's fine. But if you're a level 3 country and you're going to a level 3 institution, that's when sometimes it's harder to get the visa.
Maybe it's gonna be a little bit rude to say this, but Colombia now they're on level 3 because of that.
Yes. So there's been a lot of issues with Colombia when it comes to like visa approvals and approval ratings.
Level 1.
Yeah, they were level 1 for a long time, and
now there are 3.
And I think they're either level 2 and going to level 3, or they're level 3 now. But what I've heard is already there.
Yeah.
And in Latin America, let's say the most common countries like Colombia, Peru, Chile, Argentina, are they anyone level 1 or?
I think Argentina and
I think Chile, Chile and Argentina, probably Argentina as well. You know, a lot of the time you'll find that visa refusals has a big effect as well.
I think also Brazil is level 1.
Yeah. They were for a long time. I'm not sure if they still are. We need to see. I think at the end of this month, actually, we'll find out a bit more information about that. But yeah, it's very hard to keep your status as a college or as a country. You know, both are difficult.
Well, as a country, it's going to be depends on your
people.
On the people, your country, what you are doing.
Of course. Yeah, so it has a really big effect. And
because I know a lot of Colombians, they're working, they're studying properly, but all the rest of the Colombian people, they are not doing it. So now all of them have to pay.
You know, I'm sure it would be similar from many other countries, but the fact is that we've got such a large cohort of Colombians in Australia. And for example, just when I was having a look at the statistics, for Colombia, if we look at pre-COVID, before COVID, maybe 5,000 Colombian students would come each year. 5,000, 6,000. In 2022...
That's before COVID.
This is before COVID. In 2022, we had 32,000 from Colombia, So we got, 5 or 6 times as many students. And all of a sudden it's boom, boom, boom. And now it's starting to go back, Last year it was about 14,000. This year so far...
is still a lot.
It's still a lot.
Yeah.
It's still a lot. This year it's probably going to be, I imagine it's going to be less. It's probably going to be somewhere between 10 and 12,000. Everything's on the decrease. And that's for a lot of reasons. But again, the country level has had a big effect.
Yeah, but because now I think they need to show proof of balance or something. And it's a higher rate.
And this has got to do with, this is another benefit of going to maybe a level 1 college, because it changes the type of evidence you need to supply with your visa application. So it doesn't mean that you still may have to show it if the department requests it, but otherwise you don't have to include it with your application. So if you go to a level 1 college, and let's say if you're from a level 2 country, you may not need to include financial documents or English proof. But if you're from level 3 and you're going to a level 2, things start to change. Things start to change.
How you're going to pay that college?
So it's a very delicate balance. Everything comes into effect. Everything comes into a play. And look, level 1 colleges, they're more expensive because they're level 1, and everybody wants to go there. So there's a trade-off to everything. There's a trade-off. So
when I was studying, I was demanding a very good teaching there, because I was saying, like, this is not a cheap book. This is very expensive. So I was like fighting for it, because all the teachers were like, not all of them, but some of them, so bad, And I said, this is very, 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 very expensive. So this is a level 1 college, so I'm demanding for it.
I demand a level 1 teacher.
Yeah.
So now I think 3 of the teachers that I used to study with them, they are not anymore there.
Okay. That's good. You made a good impact, a positive impact for your classmates.
I think it's fair, right?
Yeah, it is. It is. Look, the quality of education in Australia, it's very wide. You know, some people come here and they say, oh, you know, in our country, education's much better than here. And I say, okay, well, where did you go here? And they say, oh, I went to this college, and let's say it's not a very reputable college.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, okay, well, that's why. You know, if you went somewhere else, the quality is far different. And if you go somewhere else, it's far different again. And so it's a very wide spectrum of what you can expect. Yeah. And usually you get what you pay for. Usually. Yeah. So, unfortunately, that's the way it goes.
You deserve what you pay.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
We were paying a lot of money.
I see a lot of numbers in your.
Yes.
Yeah, so I wanted to have a look. No, I wanted to have a look at some of the statistics for Peru and some of the other Latin American countries, just to see, you know, student visa statistics, working holiday visa statistics.
Do you think since June that it was the major changes in the visa applications? The request for the application for visas are decreasing or no?
Look, slightly, but I would say that everybody's a bit worried, and so that's making the applications a bit lower.
Okay.
I think people are a little bit uncertain in the market that they think, am I going to get this visa approved? Like they're hearing all this crazy stuff, like visas getting refused, you know, people's visas getting cancelled, like cost of living in Australia is increasing. So they're worried. They're a little bit worried about it. So if we look at last year to this year, I would say it's not drastic, but it's probably somewhere between like 10 and 15% reduction for, let's say, per month, right, compared to last year.
In general for Latin America?
Yeah, in general for Latin America.
And in your case, with all your applications, and how much is the percentage on your approval and your refusing and also the appeal?
Yeah. So what's really interesting is I've heard a lot of people, like, a lot of different people from different agencies will come and, you know, they might have a visa refusal and they want us to represent them. And, just kind of looking at the reasons that they've been refused, you're seeing kind of the same reasons over and over and over again. And it was similar to what we were talking about before, like the value of the course and that kind of thing. And this is something which is very possible to win at the AAT. Okay, so very possible to win. So if we think about the AAT first, what is it? It's a separate government body. Okay, so it's different to the Department of Home Affairs. So the people who say yes or no to your visa, they're over here. The AAT, who is going to do the appeal process, is over here. It's very separate. And in all honesty, you're going to get a more fair outcome at the AAT. The reason being is that case officers of the department their job is to refuse visas. That's how they are trained, how to refuse a visa. Whereas when you're looking at an AAT member, this is a very highly experienced, usually a barrister or ex-barrister or solicitor with a lot of experience, and they look at absolutely everything. They know your case very, very well when it comes to the tribunal. So getting a fair outcome, you're much more likely to get at the AAT. Now, what I'm hearing on social media is people saying, "Oh yes, my agency said that I don't have any good chances for appeal. I don't have, I should just go home." This is like to the contrary. The statistics showing that 50% of applications are set aside. So 50% of the visa decisions are set aside, which means that you win. Send it back to the department and tell them that you are a genuine student. Now approve the visa. Only 24% of applications are actually refused again. So we call it affirmed. Affirmed in the appeal process.
That's very low.
That's it, 24%. So another 20% of them withdraw the application before they finalize it. And then there's 7%, which is like other reasons, right? But when you think about, let's just say 50%, that's a big number. That means that the case officers are getting it wrong at least 50% of the time. So you've got very good chances here. Very good chances here. Personally, we've had, I think, one case which did not win the AAT. It wasn't even a student visa case. All of our student visa cases have won at the AAT, and it's because it gives you an opportunity to give extra information, extra documents, and really prove to the tribunal member that you fulfill the requirements of the visa. And that's all it is. It's like giving you a second life and say, here's all my extra information. It's not just what we've given already. We have a chance to give a lot more. So mistakes can be fixed. If you haven't included something, you can fix that. Now you can include it. Okay. If you haven't given a good explanation about this, now we give the good explanation about that. Right. So it's for AATs, they're anything is possible. Anything is possible. And now for the student visas is different, right? The student visas is different. Just having a look at the statistics, like we like to break it up into onshore and offshore applicants, right? Now, if I'm looking at Peru, what it's showing me is that onshore applications, very high chances of approval, very high. Okay. We're looking at, for higher education, 100% approval. For ELICOS, very high, 95 to 100%, depending on months. Vocational, even vocational onshore is high, 85% to 92% just in the last few months, which is great. But when we're looking at offshore, we're finding a big difference. Higher education is still very, very good. We're talking like very up there, 90% plus. Vocational and ELICOS, all of a sudden, way, way, way low. Wow. We're talking 30%.
The English course is going to be part of the ELICOS.
Yes, yeah. So yeah, English is all ELICOS, right? So it's gone from offshore being, onshore being 100% basically, and offshore being 33%, which is very, very low, very low. So I don't know what's going on with the applications. Now, it could be that the applications which are being submitted are not complete. They're not referencing the right thing, right? Like they're not discussing the issues that need to be discussed. Or the processing center is very, very strict.
Okay. And if someone offshore want just to apply for a visa, they need to do by an agency, or they can contact you, for example.
They can choose anyone they want. So they can come through us. They can go through an agency over there. They can do it themselves. It depends what they want to do, but
what
they've got total freedom.
Maybe an agency by themselves, or maybe just with the migration agent.
It depends on a few things. So one is how comfortable they are dealing with people who are overseas. Okay, some people might find that difficult. Yeah. Others is depending on the agency, whether they can speak their language well or not. So luckily I've got some great assistants who are from Colombia, which help a lot, which absolutely help
the people in the Spanish and English.
That's right.
And they're answering the phone. That's a good
they're answering the phone.
That's the good bit.
What you are saying about the trust that you have with the people overseas, it's very true, because that happened to us.
Yes.
Until now, we are not. I'm really not sure if we have an agency, a student agency in Peru. Okay, to go to one office and do all my business. We came to Australia with a Chilean company,
Chile, Argentina, or something like that.
Yes, and it was really sketchy to time to pay.
Okay.
So I need to put my credit card on this side.
Yes.
Okay, they are going to charge like
they send us a link, and we have to enter into everything. Okay, so not everyone in Peru they're doing that like confidence, because it's a lot of scam there.
Yes. But because we are rich.
Yeah, no, we're not.
Put the credit card.
I promise you that we're not. We're not poor, but we're not rich.
Okay.
We're on our way.
Yeah, that's it. The only way is up. The only way is up. Yeah, look, it's an issue for some people. It is. Depends on how much experience they've had with dealing with businesses before. Some people are very comfortable saying, "Yep, these people overseas are going to do my whole process."
I think maybe the rate is low because the financial support that you have to show is very high.
Yeah,
like we have to show like $75,000. Well,
because we were a couple,
Yeah.
they asked for 75.
that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, and not done. I mean, we don't have it. You know,
We are almost there.
Yeah.
Almost there.
we're almost there. It's very hard to find the money.
Yes.
You know, we loan some money and everything because otherwise we'll never meet each other.
Yeah.
You know?
Regarding the financial support, it's true that you can use the money from your parents if you're coming to study, or I should have that money in my own account.
Yeah, so you can have it in the account of a family member.
But it depends on the age of the person who's applying because, for example, he's over 40, so it is like, why are you using the account of your parents? You know,
Yeah.
it's weird.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It is weird.
I know what you mean. It does depend a little bit on that, but usually you can use like a parent, brother and sister. In some cases, it can be like maybe an uncle or
It's
something.
like everyone's helping you to do.
But
Yeah.
so when I'm sending those documents, I should show my bank statement, my mother bank statement, and so on.
Yes, and what you want to do. So there's two things when it comes to migration about financials. The first thing is that you've got genuine access to funds,
Mm-hmm.
and the way that you prove that is that you need to show not only that you've got funds, but you've got genuine access to them. So if your parents are going to say, okay, I've got money in this account, and you can use that for your study to show for your studies.
Mhm.
Okay, we've got the money, but how do you have genuine access to it? So we usually write a document saying, maybe it might be like a notarized document saying, I give permission for my son to be able to use this money in this account for his study in Australia. We're going to give him access to it via bank transaction into his Australian account when he arrives on shore.
Okay.
So we need to show how you're going to get that money, because sometimes I have seen some refusals in the past where people have got, I've got this money here, and let's say it's in my father's account, and they'll say, okay, but how are you going to actually get it to Australia? Or do you have actual access to it? Or did you just take your father's bank statement and say, this is it?
Okay.
It was like
That makes sense.
like our case, because we have to prove that we were a real couple, you know? And they asked for a letter from our parents.
Okay.
You know, like they are a real couple, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
And we said, okay. So, but no one knows about this trouble, you know? So we have to lie there like, I need a letter because in my job they're asking for something. Okay, yeah, they're a real couple, blah, blah, blah.
Actually, our family knows that we were coming to Australia like 3 weeks before.
Okay.
2 weeks.
2 weeks before.
15 days before. It was crazy.
Okay.
It was crazy.
Wow.
We were running, you know, like 15 days, just doing everything, paying everything, just, you know. So it was very hard, you know.
Going back to the financial support,
Yes.
can I show as a part of these documents that I have a house? I own a house in back in my country, or must be money in one bank account?
Yeah. So again, think about it this way. Do you have genuine access to that money? So if you're saying that, okay, I've got this property, they're going to say, well, do you have access to like turn that into money if you need it? Like how quickly can you get it?
Sell it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for them, it's not. I would personally never use it as a source of financials, but what I would use it for is a reason to return home.
Yes.
So I would say that, look, I've got this property, which is a financial asset in my home country, and it's a tie to that home country. That's a reason for me to, when I finish my study, I'm going to have to go back there at some stage because I need to take care of it or do something with it.
Yeah.
So I know that in some, like it's very common to do that, to show your family's property and financial position. It's in the subcontinent market. This is very normal. Like let's say India, Nepal, but not so. I don't really see it so much in the Latin American market. And to be honest, I don't know why it works for the subcontinent market, because again, you don't have genuine access. Another like something which is similar is when people have maybe a term deposit. So in a bank, and they say, I've got 20,000 in this term deposit, and sometimes you might get a request from the department saying, okay, well, you've got this money there, and it's in let's say your parents' name, term deposit. How do you have genuine access to that?
Okay.
So it's something just to think about. It's always easier to show that you've got funds in an account, or if your parents have got super high salary. So super high salary is also possible, but you're talking about 80 or 90,000 Australian dollars per year. So if it's in Latin America, that's like a crazy salary,
you have
right?
to show like they are real support for you.
Yes.
Okay, so it must be money on any account that I can have access.
Yes. And I would say also another thing that people underutilize is bank loans. So that's something that you can do. You could, let's say your parents has an investment property or something like that, and they say, okay, well, we're not going to sell that and give you the money, but what we'll do is maybe we'll get a loan for your study, and we'll use that as collateral. Okay, and that way you've got a bank loan, and it's very easy to show that that bank loan is for our study.
Okay,
that's okay as well. Bank loans are fine.
Yeah, but let's say that it's not so easy to get a bank loan in Peru. It takes time.
Yep.
And you need to show a lot of documents.
Yes.
So, and one kidney.
And one kidney. Well, look, so I guess sometimes it might be easier. Might be easier than actually than having to sell it off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you never know. It's something that I think is underutilized because it's an acceptable form for the department.
And it could be maybe if I have one of my parents has business, and they are giving me access to the business account.
That one's really hard because in Australia, for example, let's say they've got a company.
Yeah.
We would consider a company as like its own separate legal entity. So it's separate from the person who actually owns the company, right? So money in an account that is from a business is not really like, for example, if I had a business account for my company, I wouldn't be able to say that's my money because it's actually my company's money.
Yeah.
So I'm separated from that. So I think it's going to be a little bit similar in that case. What would be best in that case is that they show that they're doing regular payments into their accounts from that.
Like your salary.
Your salary.
Mm-hmm.
In that case, it would be better.
Okay.
But yeah, look, financials is something that's been really, I think, unreasonably increased with these changes that happened in July. Because
so maybe because of that is the lower number in the.
I think so. I think so.
Yeah.
Look, from certain countries, definitely, because some countries are getting requests no matter what. So other countries don't get a request for financials and they're fine. So, for example, for Colombia, nearly all the applications are asking for financials. And it's just the nature of what it is. They're trying to reduce the number because they went way too overboard the last couple of years.
That's interesting that they were like 30,000 people coming before COVID every year.
Yeah. So yeah, like 2022, 23, 32,000 people, and 23, 24, 14,000. So it's on the decline. We saw a big number earlier this year getting refused, right? Maybe the last 4 months of the financial year, there was just a big number of refusals in the market. People were going crazy. And when we look at the statistics, like it went like last year it was 90%, plus. Then all of a sudden it started going down. It was like 60%, 50%, and lower and lower and lower. And it's just like, wow.
Well, that's what the market also needs, I think so, in general in Australia, no?
Look, it's a correction for sure because they definitely overdid it.
You need to breathe a little
They definitely overdid it, and this is a big correction for them. So, there's still a lot of students coming in. Don't get me wrong. Each month from Colombia, there's probably 1,200. Actually, no, maybe a little bit less. Let's say about 1,000 approvals each month. So it's
it's not a bad number.
Not bad. Yeah.
And what about the work and holiday? I mean, now Brazil got a work and holiday. Finally, a position there because I think they're very happy now because they're always coming to study, and most of them they already know English.
Yes,
not just like a good basic English. It's enough to work here or something. So some of them they're just taking classes because they don't have another choice.
Yeah,
but now they have it.
Yeah, look, work and holiday visa is still going strong.
Mhm.
Nearly all the countries that are in the program are sending quite a few. Like the majority of them are using their cap.
Mhm.
So for these programs, the government has implemented a cap. So each country has a certain number,
Mhm.
and depending kind of how much we like the country is how many places we give them.
Yeah.
So what I would say about it is it's still not super easy to get to meet the requirements. Okay, let's say for example Peru.
What I need to have to apply for a work and holiday visa?
So you need to have had at least 2 years of like post high school study. Okay, you need to have at least 2 years. You need to have 4.5 in the IELTS test.
Only IELTS or
PTE, let's say 30 each.
That is pretty low.
It's low.
Compared to IELTS, 4.5 is pretty low.
Yeah. Look, it's not too high at all. Like it is low, but for people who don't have English, that's still a fair way off, right? That's still a fair way off.
Mhm.
So I think what we're finding is like people, coming and doing some study and then thinking about going on the working holiday visa or work and holiday visa. But basically from Peru, it's so English, at least 2 years of study, and you need to get a letter of support from your government.
What is that letter?
That's a great question.
Why? Why is the question?
Yeah.
Why? Because it's pretty hard to get it.
Yeah. How would you get it? I'm like what I tell people to do is get in contact with their embassy. Like when they're here, I say go to your embassy and say, how do I get the letter that I need for this visa? And that's basically it. I'm sure it's a very straightforward thing. They've got some templated letter, which is, okay, is this person eligible? Tick, 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 tick. Yes, they are. Okay, give them the letter.
What information is on that letter?
It would just be a letter of support saying like
I'm the government of Peru.
I'm sending you
this
this person
Daniel from
because
Peru.
very capable.
Yeah.
Just take it, please. What?
That's it. That
really
we support this
ridiculous,
person's application for a working holiday visa. That's it.
It's pretty ridiculous.
I know.
Actually,
And it's only from certain countries too, and Peru is one of them.
I don't know from where to get that letter. Actually, if I'm living in Lima at this moment and I want to apply for a working holiday, I don't know where to go. I'm supposed to foreign affairs, home affairs, or something like that. I don't know.
This is.
We need to. I'll need to look into it. Because it's not one that we normally deal with, to be honest. Because working holiday visas are like they're fairly straightforward visa applications. So a lot of the agencies overseas will do them. And by the time they get here, they're usually looking to then go on a different visa. So that's when we step in and we do another visa for them. But yeah, I mean, it's like I said, the requirements are still, still pretty big.
Mm-hmm.
Still pretty big, especially if, let's say, you're 18 years old and you think, I want to come to Australia. The best thing to do would be coming on a student visa because you're going to have, like, let's say you come here and you do some English. Okay, we know English is ticked off.
Mm-hmm.
Then we might do let's say, an advanced diploma in something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, IT, 2-year advanced diploma. Now all of a sudden we've got 2 years of study and we've got our English. Okay, we just get the letter of support and then we go on a working holiday visa.
Yeah, but it is weird because they're asking for the previous studies, but when they arrive here, they have to work in hospital or in clinic. They don't hire them. Why?
That is a big problem. That's a big problem, and it's something that people. What we've noticed, businesses are scared of when they see, oh, that person's on a visa. Businesses are a little bit scared here, and it might be because they don't know enough about the visa system, for one. Mm-hmm. The other is that they might think, okay, this person's on a visa, they've got an expiry date. So we might hire this person, they might have 4 months left on their visa. Mm-hmm. We're not guaranteed to have them after that. So this is why, like, mentally, they have a bit of a block.
For example, if I've been studying, I don't know, psychologist, mm-hmm. Okay, and I came with a work on holiday, I don't want to get any work on psychologist. And I have to go to the farm to pick some strawberries or something
to renew my visa.
Being picked by a spider or something. What?
I know.
What's the point? If I'm going to invest my money in that, I want a job on my career,
Look, I would say in that case, we're looking at the wrong visa for that person. Okay? Well, what I would say in that case is we'd be looking at okay, how can we use this person's skills and their experience
Exactly.
to get them a different visa?
Exactly.
So to get a...
you need to contact an immigration
Oh, of course, yes.
You see?
Look, pathway planning is super important. And whether you're offshore or onshore, it's always good to know what your pathway is going to be and what steps you need to take. So I say to people, and I deal with a lot of different, let's say, education agencies, and they will say, okay, so when should I send someone to you? And I say, within a couple of weeks of them landing, please send them to me. Because I want them to know what they have to do from the first moment they get here.
Who told you that? Because we just arrived in April last year, and I was saying, we need to contact a lawyer, immigration agent, or somebody else.
The first day, I was like, okay, come
what
on.
we are going to do next year when our student visa is expired.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, now I know it's true.
Yes.
Because we're living it, you know? But, for example, I'm asking you this because I got a friend, she's a lawyer in her country.
Yeah.
She's Chilean and she's a lawyer. But she's working with me in hospitality. But she wants to stay here. So how she can get an opportunity, like just to show how she works.
But she's on a work and holiday.
She's on a work and holiday. She needs to go to the farm, like just to pick some strawberries or something. And then when she back, or maybe kiwis, and when she back, she gonna back to the coffee, and then now what she can do?
How can she do it? Yeah.
No, she cannot apply for a next work and holiday because she's over 30. So what's the next one for her? Like a student one?
Yeah. So okay, number one, everyone's circumstances is different. So sometimes a minor detail, that's something that's a little bit different for this case, totally changes the outcome of what advice you're going to give. What I will say to you is that the programs that we have, some of them involve having a sponsor, okay? Some of them don't. Now, when we're thinking about the ones which have a sponsor, we might be thinking about a training visa, we might be thinking of a sponsor visa, okay? And they require different levels of let's say, different levels of support from the business, okay, and different levels of different requirements to get the visa. So you might need more work experience, less work experience. And then on the other side, we've got the general skilled migration program. So this has nothing to do with an employer. It's just their own skills, their own experience from back home. And this is a program which, for Latin American people especially, they should really be looking into this program, because everyone I've met from Latin America have excellent qualifications, have excellent work experience. The only thing that's missing is English, really. So if they were, like, let's say they were a native English-speaking country, we would have everyone from Latin America here very, very quickly. That's the only thing that's missing. And so a lot of the time, you've got to say, your entire process revolves around you getting this certain English score. Because once you've got it, the general skilled migration program opens to you. And also, if you get a sponsor along the way, that's great. But focus over here. So for your friend, I mean, getting her registration in Australia, that's so super important. So whether she needs to do a few select units, which will allow her to be eligible for registration in Australia, or whether she'll need also an English test. She'll need quite high on English test as well.
I think she have a IELTS 7 or 6.5 or something like that.
Yep. So she'll need high. So for a solicitor, I think she needs something like 7, 7, 8, 8. I'd need to check, but it's definitely 7 or more, right? So everyone's situation is different, so we can.
I mean, I'm trying to think in general, like, not everyone has the same opportunity, even if they are just working hospitality back home.
Yep.
You know, they come in to do something different in hospitality, but they don't have more opportunities here. Even if they have the English, they don't have more opportunities.
Yeah.
Because of the visa,
Because of the visa, yeah. Because it's like, no, because you need to go to do the farm work and everything. And when you back, maybe something's going to happen. And maybe you will renew to a student visa because you're not under the age. You know, so everything's changed. Everything's different for them. And when they back, they are just, okay, I have to go back to my country because I don't have any more options.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's pretty sad
It
because
is.
many people that want to stay here,
Yeah.
but they don't have more options.
Yeah, it is. Look, so many people with such great potential have been here for a long time, and they haven't gotten what they wanted yet. And it's usually for a reason like they don't know how to get it. They don't know what they need to do, or they're not willing to do what they have to do to get it.
I think because they don't want to pay for a session with an immigration agent or a lawyer to see what are my opportunities. I have this visa. I want to stay here. What I'm going to do and how much it's going to cost.
Yeah, that's the point because everyone thinks that they need to go to an agency, but that's not true. They can find just an agent, a lawyer, or something, and just they can find another way to do it.
Yeah, yeah. Like I think pathway planning is probably the most important thing. Like when it comes to student visa, working holiday visa. If you are thinking of having a life in Australia, like migrating to Australia, becoming a permanent resident and a citizen, you need to have your pathway planned. Okay, yes, you can still be flexible because things change every couple of years. Things change and whatever, but you need to have some kind of pathway, and you need to be always at least working somewhat towards it. So some people I say, okay, you've got everything, but you don't have English. So I'm like, so what are you going to do every day from now on? You need to think. You need to think. Have I done something today which has gotten me at all closer to my goal? Yeah. And if the answer is no, then you've done the wrong thing today. You need to at least have done something to take some small step towards what you want to do. You know, if it was easy to get permanent residency here, then everyone would be permanent. But there's people who are willing to do what it takes, and there's people who won't. So many times I've met someone, and I'll say to them, okay, this is the advice. Do this, and you're going to be on the pathway, and you're going to get there. And then I might see them 12 months later, and I say, okay, so have you done this? No. Have you done this? No.
I'm planning to go in another English course. I know.
So it's frustrating, but some people don't want to help themselves. Okay, you've got to get your plans right. You've got to get it. I mean, without it, with no plan, you're planning to fail.
They chose the easiest way.
Yeah, that's true. And that's the thing with migration too, is that because there are changes every now and then, and look, let's say every year there's changes, right? People are always going like this, left and right. They're getting distracted here, getting distracted there. My friends are moving to Tasmania. Let's go and move to Tasmania. This person's got an opportunity in Western Australia. Everybody quickly move to Western Australia. But that's not how it works. That's not how it works. Have a plan and stick to it. Yes, be flexible, and if there's opportunity, go for it. But you need to have a plan. You've got to have a plan.
For that reason, we have a plan with you.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yes. That's right. And we're going to get there because we're working towards it. That's it. You know, so yeah, I if it was up to me, I would be cracking the whip and getting everybody to really, really smash their English, because with English they can do so much. They can do so much. That's what
they think that's not true, because they're coming, they're not going to classes, and then they're asking like, I don't know, I don't have more opportunities here. I don't have any English. What do you mean?
I heard people in, I don't know, 5-6 years on a student visa. And usually repeating the same English course.
That's why everything's changing now.
I had one lady who came in a few weeks ago, and she's been in Australia for 16 years on a student visa.
16 years?
Yeah. Oh my God. From Latin America?
No, she was from China. But yeah, so 16 years.
16 years working 24 hours.
No, maybe she's working cashing hand or something.
Yeah.
That's
it's
not possible living with 24 hours. Not possible. Oh my God. She's living a hole.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine?
No, maybe
she's one of the homeless in the George Street.
Oh, maybe she's living outside of Westpac.
But it's amazing, really. It is amazing that people go for so long and just with no plan.
Yes,
no plan.
I think it's crazy. Since the beginning, I told Daniel, we need to find a lawyer who organize everything and let us know.
I think we met each other maybe more than a year.
I think so. Yeah.
More than a year ago.
Yeah, because we talked that our visa is going to expire in
May.
May.
Wow.
We have time.
We got time.
No, yeah, you told us,
Yeah.
oh no, you guys, you have time.
You got time. You got time.
No, and really, we applied just 1 week before our visa expired. What's crazy was that Phill.
Plenty of time.
Phill, can we?
Yeah.
Phill was picking up the phone.
Look, we always laugh. Migration is one of those jobs where you work like in terms of hours and not days or weeks. Mm-hmm. So if someone says to you like, "Oh, okay, I've got 3 weeks until my visa expires," you're like, "Okay,
you're okay.
You're all right.
Yes.
You're all right." But if someone comes to you and say, "I've got 8 hours until my visa expires," then I'm like, "Okay, I need to start doing something." You know, we need to start.
It was the same with Andres.
Mm-hmm.
He's still waiting. Phill just applied my visa 2 days before my visa expires. I don't know what I'm gonna do now because I don't know where I am. I think you're a Virgin visa now. He's all
good. He's all good.
Yeah.
He's all good. No, so
he didn't know.
Send a message for him like everything's okay.
Everything's fine with him. No problem at all. Everything's great. No, we like I said, we work in hours because sometimes we get someone coming in 4 o'clock in the afternoon and they say, "I need help. My visa's expiring at midnight." And we say, "Okay." And then we
Very
go,
responsible.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And unfortunately that puts all of our other cases on hold because we've got to do something. Or someone will say, "Look, I've got this cancellation notice and I have to I have to respond in 7 days." And I say, "Okay, well when's this? When did you get it?" And they'll be like, "Oh, 6 days ago." And I'll be like, "Oh, okay." And so you've got to drop everything and try and help them out. So yeah. What can you do? Yeah, look, you hear some good stories doing it. That's for sure. You got some good stories.
So you're helping us with our visa. Just talk about our visa pretty fast.
Mm-hmm.
We're on a training visa because it says doing the visa now, and I'm going to be the dependent of him. So just a real quick explanation about it.
Yeah.
What is a training visa?
A training visa. So a training visa allows you to work with an employer under a training plan to enhance your skills. This is what's used mostly for. Some pathways might be to gain a registration, or some to get extra skills in a place that maybe you don't have skills in. And this allows you to work with an employer for up to 2 years. So it's a very nice option to get more skills, to get more work experience, and sometimes it's a stepping stone to gaining experience for a skilled visa or for a further sponsorship visa. So it's a great option for people who've got some work experience but are looking for more to update their skills, upgrade their skills, and give themselves more time and more experience in Australia.
Yeah, and a better pathway to do the PR and then the citizenship. So Phill, just into the camera, please send a message to all these students here in Australia.
Okay.
What they need to do just to stay here, like doing the things very well, which advice you want to give them. And also, we're going to put all your phone number and everything here, the information down here. Just maybe they can call you, they can consult with you.
Yeah.
But just please send a message for them.
Yeah. Okay. So what will my advice be to you? If you're thinking of, if you're either already here and you need to know what your pathway is going to be, or you're thinking, I want to stay in Australia, I want to migrate here, or if you're overseas and you want to come and migrate to Australia, you need to have a good plan. Okay. You need to think about what the steps are going to be, how you're going to make progress. Okay, how you're going to make progress. There is a pathway for nearly everyone. Some people have many pathways. Some people have only one pathway. Okay, so it's important to know what your limitations are, because everything is a little bit different from career to career. So someone who's a software engineer is going to have different options to someone who is, for example, like a farm worker. Okay? So there are many, many ways to become a permanent resident in Australia. If you're not thinking about permanent residency, or if you are thinking about permanent residency, you still need to do the right thing by your visa. So if you get a visa and you're here, let's say a student visa, please obey your visa conditions. Make sure that you're studying, you've got good attendance, you're doing your assignments, you're working the right amount of hours. The worst thing you can do for your profile and for your opportunities in the future is to get a visa cancellation. Okay? So do everything you can to make sure you do not get a visa cancellation. The other thing I would say is that there are refusals in the market at the moment from different countries, and if you do get a refusal and you're onshore, not to worry about it. Okay, it's not the end of the world. There are ways to overturn that. There are ways to fight against that. And they're not a very, what's the word? It's not going to be the most stressful thing you've ever encountered. It's come and talk to someone, come and talk to me, come and talk to another agency about your refusal. And you'll see that the process is very straightforward, and it's nothing to be really intimidated about or worried about. There are always ways and opportunities to fix your situation. Okay? And finally, what else would I say? Anything else? No, I don't think so. I mean, at the moment, it looks like onshore is actually pretty good for student visas. Offshore is having some problems. So if you are thinking about you're offshore and you're wanting to come to Australia, have a plan for that. Okay, so speak to someone and think about, all right, maybe now is not the best time, maybe 3 months is the best time, or we need to assess what the best pathway is going to be for them to ensure that they have maximum chances of getting the visa
or maybe
approved.
they can start practicing the English.
Of course.
The British one. Because the accent, oh my God.
That's your major challenge.
Oh my God, and I can tell. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes. So,
No, English is always going to help you no matter what visa you do.
yeah.
Okay? English is
no matter where you are.
Yeah.
It is true.
It's
Yes.
every opportunity in Australia, you must have English.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is
That's true.
It is true.
Thank you very much, Phill, for your time.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
We know that you are a busy man, but you gave us your time. That's
It's my pleasure. My pleasure. Yeah, if we can help anybody, let us know. But we're always happy to help guide people the right way.
Good.
Thank you very much,
Thank you
Phill.
very much,
It
Phill.
was really a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Always.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, guys. Muchas gracias a todos. Espero que esto les haya ayudado un poco. Vamos a dejar la información de Phill en la descripción igual.
Y que les dé un poco más de, una idea un poco más clara de si quieren venir a Australia, si quieren mantenerse en Australia. Entonces, cualquier duda que tengan pueden contactar con Phill. Si tienen problemas con el inglés, Phill tiene 2 asistentes que hablan español, así que van a estar súper bien cuidados.
Y son
por
súper
ellas,
buena
súper buena
onda.
onda, lindas ellas.
Sí.
María del Mar
Y
Catherine
Sí.
están ahí, ellas hablan español, así que los van a ayudar siempre.
Sí, así que nada. Y bueno, ya saben en qué camino estamos también nosotros.
Ahí tienen una opción más, si es que están trabajando en algún lugar, contacten con su agente migratorio.
Y a lo mejor el trabajo donde están los pueden ayudar.
Exacto.
Así que nada perdemos preguntar. Okay, thank you so much again.
Thank you very much,
Thank you
Phill.
for your time.
Cheers.
Nada, vayan al TikTok. You have TikTok, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna give me a TikTok.
I
Okay.
will.
Okay, so es en TikTok también. Ahora ponemos las redes aquí
Ya
también.
ponemos las redes para que los sigan, no se olviden de seguirnos.
Síguenos nosotros, estamos como 2 Gordos en TikTok. Suscríbanse al canal, también estamos como 2 Gordos en YouTube. Yo soy como Dani-Gordo en TikTok y en Instagram.
Igual en Instagram y en YouTube y en TikTok me pueden encontrar como José-Gordo.
Muchísimas gracias por su tiempo y ya nos estamos viendo en otro capítulo. Adiósito.
Bye.